Hello everyone, this is Franck Contrepoix. Today we're going to talk about the FinOps toolkit, and in particular we're going to have a focus on the forecast tool. So first of all, the FinOps toolkit is a set of tools, and so while it starts, and one of the most important one is the forecast, what you really want to see is that it's made of multiple tools. So there is one which is for AWS, which is extract the cost and usage directly. There is one, as we're talking about, which is the forecast, which we're going to go into details today. And then there is another one that uses the forecast, but it is anomaly detection. And last but not least, there is one that checks your AWS budget and checks that the numbers are matching against it. So without further ado, let's go to the next bit. Hello, so we're gonna go through the demo of the FinOps toolkit. In particular, we're just gonna focus on how can you use the forecasting system. So we're really gonna focus on the forecasting system, but to do that, I needed to build all the tools just to be able to create this demo. But the real star of the show in here is the forecasting.py. So the forecasting is going to go as lots of different algorithm that it can use, which is really cool. The very interesting bit is that you just need to pass two columns. So a CSV with two columns, one contains dates, the other one contains values, and that's it. And the system is going to be able to do a forecasting. It doesn't matter if the dates are in the past, in the future, wherever, it doesn't matter. It's going to just apply the various methods, which you can see in here, to your data. So it's a Python thing. So I used a VM. So I activate my VM environment. I installed all the requirements that are needed. I create a couple of folders when I can put the input and the output. This is just for me to simplify my life with this demo. And so the first thing I had to do, which you might find useful or not, if you have your own data, you don't need it. I needed to create some series, some data. And so I created a tool, which is generate series.py, and it's you can tell it what is the kind of patterns, if you want it to go flat, up, down, etc. In this case, I'm asking for 365 days, ending today, with all of them being 10, 0 no's, and everything goes into a file. And so what you get is what you see in here. There is this file, this is a table format, and this is a graphical format. Everything is just 10. That's just to create the data, okay? If you have real data, use it. Then what do? Well, we have that input daily flat CSV file. So I'm going to say, hey, I want the forecast. The input daily is here. The date column is this. The value column is that. I also want an ensemble, and I'm going to go into details. And I want you to put all the results into this. And so what we get out of this is some new data. There is all the data from before, which is available. And there has all these 10, 10, 10, as we've seen. And if we go down and we get to the last element, which was known, so we know that cost is known. And then we start by having one column for each of the algorithm that we're using. So the idea is you can easily compare all the algorithm. And if you look at them on the graph in here, they're all here together. It's hard to make a term, but they're all here together. They're just flat, so everything flat is managed correctly, and that's positive. So just going faster, then I wanted to try with linear growth. So I've generated series, put the right options so that it goes up and to the right. I've done then the graph, passing it to the forecast, and you can notice that it's exactly as before. And this time I'm going to explain the ensemble. Ensemble is an average of all the other methods. So it's going to take everything that was done, so the 6 or 8 methods that have been used, and then do an average of that. What you get is, again, a big table, but what is interesting is the graph, and you can see the differences. So in particular, you can see that the ES and the SMA are both really giving you fixed data. So they are not showing you the future, but a cost per day that if you wanted to continue, would have to put together, and that will create a linear things which would work. But if you use all the algorithm like the HW or the profit or the theta or the ensemble, which is the average, you will get these values. So if you put, for example, in the source data past information, past data, then you will be, for example, 6 months of data from 6 months ago, you take 3 months of 6 months ago, and you check it against today, you will understand which algorithm works best for your workload. And in the same way, I invite you to go to the web page with the demo, with the rest. We will try to create some little spikes, which is done by another little tool, which is called Hide Spikes. So again, I'm following the philosophy of context is everything. We want to create lots of little tools. Each one of them do one thing extremely well. So this one adds spikes, and we can see the results in here. Then we can add bigger spikes, and then we can add even bigger spike while growing, which is another interesting one. And then that already starts getting all the algorithm are indifferent. So I create a generate series flat, but this time I've added some seasonality. So as you can guess, there is a new tool, which is seasonality. So in this case, you get all this information, but the last one is simply seasonality, and then the result of seasonality is passed to the forecasting. So what you see here is the seasonality. This is seasonality for toys. I call it the preset is toys because it is Christmas. And so that's the results that you can see. So you can easily see that, for example, Profit is doing quite a good job at finding the ways. On the other side, you have a seasonality which are called holidays, which is, hey, December when you go skiing in my northern hemisphere, and this August when you go again on holiday. So that's another type of seasonality. And again, you can see how, for example, Profit replicates the past. Is that the right thing to do? I don't know, but that's the one it does. And then I've done the same with the seasonality while going up. And again, you can see the results with both system, etc., etc. And then I tried, and if that's only if you want, there are some tuning that are doable for each of these ones. If they don't get it right, you can start tuning. If you know what you're doing, if you know your seasonality in advance, you can at that point use that. And yep, that's it. Those are the most better tuned approaches. But that's it for me. I hope you've enjoyed this demo.